King Charles has just approved a sweeping new guideline, one that quietly reshapes the royal family's future in a way no one saw coming. The rule itself sounds straightforward, but its impact landed like a shockwave. Any child who hopes to remain in the royal line of succession must grow up permanently in the United Kingdom under direct royal oversight. No loopholes, no exceptions, no special allowances. And the second this rule surfaced, everyone immediately realized who would feel the hit first. Archie and Lilibet, Harry and Meghan's children, born and raised far away in California, automatically fell outside the requirement. They've never taken part in long-standing royal customs, never lived inside the royal system, and have almost no connection to the day-to-day world of the monarchy. Inside palace circles, insiders murmured that this wasn't some ordinary adjustment. It was a signal. A signal that the monarchy was drawing a line for the future. A signal that the next generation, at least certain members of it, would be selected with intention. And for Meghan Markle, this cut deeper than most people realized. Because to her, this wasn't only about titles. It was about identity. It was about acknowledgement. It was about ensuring her children were included in the legacy she believed they were entitled to inherit. But this new rule delivered a message she never expected to hear so directly. The crown decides who is part of the fold, she doesn't. And it didn't stop there. Before anyone could react, another major update dropped. King Charles unveiled a second requirement, and this one landed even harder. Only the children of royals actively serving the institution would stay in the succession line. Meaning only the kids of working royals, those who show up, carry out duties, and represent the crown, would keep their place. Harry and Meghan stepped away from royal life back in 2020. They made their choice. Independence over institution. And now, years later, that choice had circled back. Their children no longer fit under the updated structure. Behind the palace gates, advisors framed it as a practical overhaul, a clean, organized strategy to streamline the monarchy and secure its future. But in Montecito, sources say it landed differently, like a quiet rebuke, a careful removal of the last link tying Meghan's family to the monarchy, a subtle reminder that every decision carries a price, and a signal that the royal family was done stretching the rules to keep the Sussexes within the fold. This wasn't meant to be emotional. At least, that's what the palace claimed. But for Meghan, there was simply no way to interpret it differently, because for the second time in just days, another rule had appeared that pointed straight at her children. And this time, it was carved in stone. And just when it felt like things couldn't escalate any further, another development unfolded inside the palace walls, quieter, colder, and far more unsettling. A formal clarity review. Usually, these reviews are routine housekeeping, small teams double-checking files, confirming information, or organizing outdated records. But this one stood apart from the beginning. Insiders revealed that the people brought in weren't ordinary staff members or simple record keepers. They were constitutional specialists, legal strategists, royal historians, experts who deal with succession rules and long-term royal implications. A group like that only appears when something serious is under question or when the outcome could shape the monarchy for decades. This review centered on everything connected to Harry, Meghan, and their children. Birth records, medical validations, documents that should have been processed automatically but never were. Timelines tied to their departure from royal duties. Eligibility guidelines that had never been challenged before. It wasn't an aggressive probe, no accusations, no confrontations, but it was exact, precise, and relentless, the kind of review that strips away anything uncertain and exposes anything that no longer fits. And as the monarchy continued tightening its structure, another figure quietly stepped forward behind the scenes, Prince William. For years, he had remained in the background, absorbing lessons from his grandmother, watching his father prepare for kingship, and observing every political storm the institution had endured. Insiders now claim that William has shifted into a far more commanding position. He's no longer just waiting for the crown, he's stepping into the role of the monarchy's shield. People close to the palace say William has grown increasingly unwilling to tolerate anything that destabilizes the institution or threatens the legacy he's destined to uphold. And after years of interviews, accusations, and public fallout involving Harry and Meghan, William's patience has nearly disappeared. His inner circle describes him as unwavering, sharp, and fully prepared to draw firm lines. Those aware of the ongoing strategy say William is ready to make difficult, even uncomfortable choices, including approving the removal of titles if it helps secure the monarchy's long-term stability. One senior aide summed it up harshly: William will remove what's necessary to protect the whole. And in his mind, this isn't revenge. It's obligation. Where Harry backed away from the royal machine, William stepped deeper into it. Where Meghan pushed against the system, William strengthened it. And where Charles began revising the structure of the family, William is preparing to take those changes to their final stage. Behind closed doors, the message is unmistakable: the next era cannot begin with uncertainty. Not under William. Not under the incoming king. As William consolidates his influence, Meghan is reportedly preparing for something far more direct: a legal confrontation. Sources say she has spoken to attorneys on both sides of the Atlantic, determined to examine whether the new succession rules conflict with the centuries-old Act of Settlement from 1701, the foundation of royal inheritance law. To Meghan, the timing of these updates feels pointed, specific, intentional, and unmistakably aimed at her children, as if someone is trying to push them out of the royal frame entirely. She believes the rules shifted because she and Harry stepped away. The palace insists the reforms were needed, but no matter the explanation, Meghan appears ready to take action. Her legal advisors warn her that going up against the monarchy is never simple. Court cases don't stay hidden. They don't stay orderly. And they require real documents, real testimony, and real evidence from every party involved. That's where the real complication begins. If Meghan files a case, Harry will be forced into the one situation he's tried to avoid: choosing a side in public. Supporting Meghan means standing opposite his own family in a courtroom, under questioning, with no chance to quietly retreat. Choosing the palace would mean breaking a promise he swore he'd never abandon. For Meghan, this fight is about acknowledgement. For the monarchy, it's about maintaining structure. For Harry, it's the impossible task of choosing between two worlds that can no longer exist side by side. The battle hasn't officially begun, yet the divisions are already visible. A storm now hangs directly above the royal household, and the crossroads ahead can't be ignored. On one side, the institution is remaking itself. Policies altered, titles reconsidered, the succession order reshaped, and a detailed clarity review quietly sifting through the past. King Charles is standing firm. William is refusing to yield. The palace is tightening its defenses. On the other side stands Meghan, unyielding, emotional, and ready to fight for the place she believes her children were born to have. To her, the new rules feel like erasure. The clarity review feels like intrusion. And the distance between California and London feels wider than ever before. Caught between these opposing forces is Harry, a prince without a clear anchor, a husband desperate to shield his family, a son watching the doors of his old life close one by one. Insiders say he senses the pressure rising, the options narrowing, the decisions becoming unavoidable. Because if Meghan moves forward with legal action, the monarchy will have no choice but to respond in ways that open everything up: files, statements, long-buried details, and private moments the royal family has guarded for decades. And once that curtain is lifted, peace becomes impossible to restore. This is the instant before everything cracks. The moment when the fate of two young royals transforms into the center of a constitutional clash. The moment a personal dispute turns into a historic confrontation. The monarchy is positioning itself to move forward. Meghan is bracing for a fight. And Harry is facing the most painful decision of his life. But one thing is undeniable: whatever happens next won't be subtle. It won't be soft. And it will permanently shift the direction of the royal family. Because this isn't the final chapter. This is the ignition point, the split second before everything erupts.